Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be looking at solving linear equations, in particular where there's an x term on both sides of the equation. So this is suitable for anyone doing foundation and higher tier GCSE Maths. So the main objective here is to solve linear equations where there's an x term on both sides of the equation. So an example of a question you might get asked is 2x plus 4 equals x plus 9. So what can help when you're solving these equations is moving the smaller x term onto the other side. So here's an example. You have 5x plus 3 equals 2x plus 18. So the objective here is to try and group the x terms together so that we only have one x term in the equation. So in this case, what we're going to do is subtract the smaller one from the bigger one, just because that's what makes it a little bit easier. So if we minus 2x from both sides, we end up with 3x plus 3 equals 18. So now we've got rid of the 2x, and so we now only have one x term, and so it's now just an ordinary two-step equation. So we need to get rid of the plus 3, and we need to get rid of the multiply by 3. So the opposite of adding 3 is subtracting 3, so we need to subtract 3 from both sides, and we end up with 3x equals 15. So now the opposite of multiplying by 3 is dividing by 3. So we end up with x equals 5, and that is the answer to that question. So here's the next example. Again, you have a 3x and a 7x. So the easiest way of doing this is to subtract the smaller x term from the bigger x term. So we're going to do that by subtracting 3x from both sides. So if we do that, we end up with 4x minus 4 equals 10. And now we need to get x by itself. So we're going to add 4 to both sides because the opposite of minusing 4 is adding 4. So we end up with 4x equals 14. And now we need to get rid of the 4. So to get rid of the 4, because we're timesing by 4, we divide by 4. This one's a bit awkward because 4 doesn't actually go into 14. We can just leave the answer as 14 over 4. And if we simplify that as a fraction, we end up with 7 over 2, which you might know is 3.5. But you can just leave your answer as 7 over 2 if you want to. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that if you have an answer that's not a whole number. So this question here, we have 4x plus 12 equals 6x minus 8. So again, it's helpful if you subtract the smaller x term from the bigger x term. So this time, I'm going to minus 4x from both sides because that's the smaller x term. So we're going to end up with 12 equals 2x minus 8. So now we still need to try and get that x by itself. So the problem with this one is we have a minus 8 and a 2 in the way. So to get rid of the minus 8, we're going to add 8 to both sides. So we end up with 20 equals 2x. And now to get x by itself, the opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. So we end up with x equals 10. And that is the answer to this question. This example here, we have 2x plus 3 equals minus 4x plus 10. So this time we have a negative 4x term, so that is the smaller term. But to get rid of it, we're not going to minus it because minusing 4x from both sides, we would have minus 2x plus 3 equals minus 8x plus 10. So we need to get rid of the minus 4x term, but we're going to do the opposite. So the opposite of minus 4x is plus 4x. So we're going to add 4x to both sides this time. And we end up with 6x plus 3 equals 10. So now we need to try and solve this. So the thing that's in the way of x being by itself is the plus 3 and the times by 6. So we're going to get rid of the plus 3 by minusing 3. So we end up with 6x equals 7. And then we're going to get rid of the 6x. So the opposite of multiplying by 6 is dividing by 6. So we end up with x equals 7 over 6. And that is the answer to that question. So here's an exam style question on this topic. So we have solve 2 bracket 2x minus 1 equals 4x plus 10. So that's worth 3 marks. I'd say 3 marks is quite generous for that question. It could be worth 2 to 3 marks. So the first thing I'm going to do with this question, we see brackets. I'm going to expand the brackets. I'm going to get rid of the brackets. So what we're going to do is 3 times 2x and 3 times minus 1. So we end up with 3 times 2x, that is 6x, and 3 times minus 1, that is minus 3. So 6x minus 3 equals 4x plus 10. And then we're going to subtract the smaller x term from the larger x term. So I'm going to minus the 4x from both sides, leaving us with just 2x take away 3 equals 10. So now I need to get x by itself. So the thing that's in the way of x being by itself is the 2 and the minus 3. So the opposite of minusing 3 is adding 3. So I end up with 2x equals 13. And now I need to get rid of the 2. So the opposite of timesing by 2 is dividing by 2. So I end up with x equals 13 over 2, which you can leave as your answer if you want, or if you know that is a decimal, you could write that as 6.5. Okay? So here's some quick fire practice questions on this topic. So pause the video now if you want to have a go at these, and I will show the answers in a short moment. Okay, so well done if you had a go at those. The answers have just been shown, so well done if you got them all right. If you're still a bit unsure, maybe have a look back at this video to see where you've gone wrong. But that is everything on solving linear equations where there is an x term on both sides of the equation. So I hope you found that useful, and in the next video I will show you how to solve quadratic equations, specifically by factorising. Okay, so I'll see you then. Bye!